What is happening, everybody? Glasgow 101. So the video you're about to watch is the best of Dragon Ball Z Abridged episodes 1 to 50. I published this video in several parts a la Team 4-Star's DBcember style way back in December of 2016. Editing's a little amateur, audio quality is pretty bad, but I figured with the 10-year anniversary of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, it was a fun time to stroll down memory lane, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Hello Internet, I'm Glasgow 101, and welcome to DBcember. What's happening? What's DBcember? And why the fuck is there a Pokemon wearing a scouter on your screen? Well, let me explain. Back in December 2014, Team 4-Star began a merry holiday tradition where, every December, they counted down the top 24 best parts of the Dragon Ball series from various categories. First up, it was the top 24 Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z moments, and last year it was the top 24 movies. This year, however, I'm celebrating both Team 4-Star and DBZ. Click here to see what I've got planned for the rest of the month. But, as for right now, I'm borrowing Team 4-Star's format and counting down the top 24 moments from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Episodes 1 to 50 respectively. Couple of ground rules right off the bat. First off, as I mentioned, I'm only doing episodes 1 to 50, so sorry Perfect Cell fans, maybe I'll do 50 to 100 when they get there. And secondly, this is about Dragon Ball Z Abridged. So, I won't be ranking moments higher on the list if they're important to the main story. It's about the Abridged series, not the base series. So, in saying that, let's get into it.
24.
Yep, this is right at the very bottom. No, I'm not changing it. While this is, in all honesty, the most famous fight in all of Dragon Ball, this isn't Dragon Ball. It's Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And, while it's well paced, well cut together, has great dynamics in play, and has fairly good writing, no real jokes stick out, and the entire fight feels underwhelming after it's been building to it for the entire season. While Super Saiyan Goku vs Frieza isn't bad by any means, hell, it's on the list for a reason, it just feels like a bit of an anticlimax after all the build-up, which makes it hard to justify it being higher on the list. Well, at least we're starting the list off strong.
23.
He is hilarious, and you will quote everything he says. I struggled to choose which Guru moment would feature on this list, but ultimately, I'm happy with this decision. Plus, we've got Nail. Yay! In this altercation, Frieza arrives at the Guru residence and begins being, well...
Good lord, I was led to believe your species survived entirely on water. How is he so fat?
A huge trick. Yeah, that's it. I don't know why this particular scene sticks out to me as a favorite, but it does. Guru, Nail, and Frieza's altercation here, it just makes it worthy of the list to me.
Nail, do we have a visitor?
Yes, sir.
Nail, take his coat.
I don't have a coat.
He doesn't have a coat, sir. And I believe this is the man who basically killed our entire race.
Nail, don't take his coat.
Pure comedic genius.
22.
Get it 'cause he's gay. Classic. This moment makes the list for me not only because of this perfectly timed cutaway,
I just want to grab him and 69!
but as well as this is one of Vegeta's most earned cocky moments. After getting his ass handed to him by Zarbon, his power level rises enough to hand Zarbon his ass right back. Damn, Saiyan genetics are pretty powerful. This scene, in its simplest terms, is just funny, with Krillin, Vegeta, Zarbon, and even Bulma getting good lines off. Though, why does Kaiser have to play the gay character?
21.
Remember all those TV shows you grew up watching as a kid? Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Yet, take all of those campy as hell guys and contrast them with modern characters. And boom, you've got why this works. Berta's obsession with having a character trope, a much too long opening theme song, and hell, Raccoon even has a toy line. All these things that worked so well in the 90s and 80s gets torn to shreds here, and it's wonderful to watch all these classic tropes play out with modern characters reacting to it.
You ever watch Power Rangers?
No,
Ninja Turtles?
no,
Sailor Moon?
no,
Beetleborgs?
no,
VR Troopers?
no,
Samurai Cyber Squad?
no.
Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills?
Oh yeah!
God damn it!
Only 90s kids will get this bit.
20.
There's a simple reason why this makes the list.
Peaceful young races with fires on their houses, millions of voices all silenced like mouses, watching the cowards bow toward their new king. These are a few of my favorite things.
Little Karibo rocks. Little Karibo's portrayal of the tyrant is just phenomenal. Better than many portrayals of Frieza we've seen throughout the Dragon Ball series. Frieza's taunts, as well as Vegeta, Gohan, Dende's, and Krillin's dialogue in this fight, are just so perfect, so it makes my list for number 20.
19.
This moment, for me, makes the list because it executes a key scene far better than the original show. While the original focuses on Mr. Popo's sadness at losing Kami, in the Abridged series, they instead focus on the effect this has on Kami, and how his role of the Guardian of Earth has taken a toll on him. It's an emotional, meaningful scene that really provides Kami with a lot more character, which, incidentally, makes his transition into a bigger part seem a lot more natural.
I've been the Guardian for over 300 years. I've seen wars, sickness, death, and worse. All the while trapped on this lookout, unable to interact with the outside world for more than moments at a time. Now the only chance I have left is giving up my free will to someone else. It's just another prison.
Wow, I didn't...
It's fine. I'm done anyway.
18.
Well, holy shit, don't that boy Taka got the most beautiful set of pipes on him? While this scene was creepy enough in the anime, Cell singing Mr. Sandman causes the creepy factor to go up to 11, and all of the tiny sound effects and audio bits really pull this scene together to make it just unsettling. Another big plus that helps to make the list is the fact that it really captures the horror elements of Imperfect Cell. While the rest of the Imperfect Cell saga in the Abridged series is humorous, this one scene is through and through horror, which helps establish the balance of horror before humor with his character.
Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Hello, friend.
How delightfully horrifying.
17.
Hashtag Throwback Thursday. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? I'll stop. This scene in the first episode of the Abridged series of Raditz arriving at Kame House just ticks a lot of boxes, including the first sign of the Krillin Dome Count, or cock.
So you're his brother, huh? Wow, that must mean you'll be involved in a lot of future events, right? Right? What did I say?
But the main reason this hits the list is the fact it's the first consistent scene in the series that really showed what it would become. And because of that, it gets the number 17 spot.
16.
Yeah, what a way to start a character dynamic. So in the scene after meeting Trunks, Bulma begins trying to get it on with her son? Ugh. Despite the creepiness of this scene, this is just a fun character moment, and a great reference to Bulma's more early moments and more promiscuous days in OG Dragon Ball. Also, I just love to imagine Kaiser and Megami recording this scene.
You're really cute.
Well, you know, my mom always said I was a cute kid.
Oh, a mama's boy, huh? I'll be your mommy.
15.
The bitch is back, and there's hell to pay. Vegeta's utter domination of 19 is one of the most entertaining things to watch, not only for the lines and quips, but just for the pure spectacle. Music choice and shots are spot on as usual, which really makes this scene unforgettable. However, what stops it from hitting a higher number on this list is it feels very, very similar to the original Vegeta 19 fight, which stops it from being as unique and special as some of the other moments on this list. It's simply a case of been there, done that, and in an abridged series that's kinda hard to avoid.
So then, before I put down the clown, let's put it to bed, shall we? Do you feel fear, android?
No, please. Get away. Leave me alone.
All I needed to hear.
No.
One. Big Bang Attack!
No.
14.
The Ginyu Force! This moment gets higher than Z Warriors vs Ginyu Force just because of how well the carnage is presented. Goku taking down Recoome in one swoop and Vegeta's reaction to this is already enough for it to make the list for me.
So anyway, Vegeta, what happened to you? Did you get beat up by this guy?
No,
You fell down some stairs.
I fell down some stairs. No, you didn't, you— Shut up before I throw you down a flight.
But something that helps elevate it is Berta and Jace's budding bromance. Only for Berta to immediately die and Jace to run off in panic. All in all, this scene is just well put together and makes Goku easily overpowering a few guys feel entertaining and fresh. Which is kind of impressive, given that we've seen Goku kick ass like 100 times before.
13.
Never thought Raditz would be in the top 15 of anything, but here you go. Raditz vs Goku and Piccolo is just altogether a good fight, which is really something considering the team was still new and didn't really have their footing in the door at this point. But the writing here is very solid and the editing is very well done, considering the fact that this is only like the second abridged series Kaiser has worked on. It has some really iconic and fun moments, including the Charging My Attack song, and also this gem.
I don't have any choice. I have to use my last technique.
Now die!
Full Nelson!
A full Nelson? That won't work on me. I'm Raditz. Okay, let go.
Oh Raditz, you lovable, weak as a Cyberman piece of shit. All in all, I think this makes the list because it really stands out as some of their best early work, and probably helped to sell a few people on the concept of abridging as a whole, seeing how well a scene like this can be turned into something comedic and filled with creative possibility.
12.
Everybody loves Nappa, right? And this is where you started loving him. In the original show, Nappa is nothing more than a boring musclehead. He comes in, kills a few main characters, then gets blown up. However, in DBZA, they gave him a truly special treatment, expanding his character and giving him a great dynamic with Vegeta. And this is where all of that started, in this totally forgettable bit of filler from the original series. Nappa and Vegeta's antics are on full display here, and I for one cannot get enough of them.
Look at us, Vegeta! We've saved an entire race from tyranny. We're heroes, Vegeta. We are a couple of really great gods. Tragic.
11.
Remember how I said Nappa is everybody's favorite? Yeah, you can scratch that. One of the most drastic changes from the original show is everybody's favorite demon god, Lord Popo, and his horrifying personality. And this is our first impression of him. And yeah, he's truly horrifying. The truth is sometimes funny is just plain funny, and that is the case with Team 4-Star's take on the terrifying beast of darkness, Mr. Popo.
Any questions? Yeah,
10.
This might be biased since I'm quite a fan of musicals, but dear God, what a way to do a training montage. Instead of spending an extensive amount of time on boring training, TFS give the Dragon Ball universe the Disney treatment and solve everything with an epic montage. Unlike a lot of internet parodies, this one is actually very well constructed and performed, mostly due to the talents of the voice actors behind the team. It's hard to say why this is so high up on the list for me, but it's just such a memorable way to do such an unmemorable moment, and really, that's the spirit of Abridging, taking something that wasn't too great in the base series and improving it exponentially. And hey, the fact they made those improvements with a jazzy song number, all the better.
I must be swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of a raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Hey, King Kai, I did it!
Awesome.
9.
Goku and Vegeta is one of the best dynamics TFS has to offer, and this is where we see the beginning of that incredible friendship? In the climax of Season 1, we see Goku and Vegeta face off for the very first time, and it leads to a very, very incredible fight scene. The editing and pacing is spot on, which I keep bringing up since DBZ has problems with too much filler in fights. But the way it's arranged here is perfect, with just the right amount of comedy, action, and progression throughout the battle. While this scene does have a lot of very solid jokes, not a lot of them stand out as the best of TFS, so that's why it's not quite as high on the list as a lot of people might expect. It is a very memorable battle, but it's memorable for the entire fight, not specific parts or lines, and for a comedy series, you really need specific jokes to stand out above the rest.
No, and we can stop this meaningless bloodshed.
Such tripe! Where's your Saiyan pride, Kakarot? We are proud warriors, bred to fight and conquer. This planet has made you soft.
Are you sure about this? Because even if you're a little sorry...
No, I'm not sorry!
Are you absolutely sure you...
Yes, I'm entirely sure! I'm going to obliterate you and the rest of this planet myself with my own two...
Kyle Cat!
Kyle what?
8.
Remember how I said Goku vs. Vegeta didn't have any memorable jokes that stood out and became hallmarks of the series?
So, Mr. Piccolo, what are you going to teach me today? A brand new technique? How to sense energy? What about how to fly?
Dodge!
Yeah, there's that. Piccolo and Gohan's first training session is one of the best parts of both the original show and DBZA, as it's the start of a great friendship that really changes Piccolo and Gohan's characters for the better. This is our first scene of Gohan and Piccolo interacting together, and this dynamic is a very important part of both DBZ and DBZA, and TFS really hit the nail on the head with this one. It's funny, well-timed, and also leads to some great humor in the future, while also serving as a great way to start their characters' dynamic in the Saiyan saga. All in all, this is just a perfect example of the best of TFS's early work, as they start a character dynamic, start one of their longest running jokes, and just amuse us for a good few minutes.
7.
You gotta love cocky as shit Vegeta. After training in the hyperbolic time chamber, Vegeta comes down to lay some whoop ass on semi-perfect Cell, and, surprisingly enough, it actually goes well for him for once. Between Android 19 and most of the Namek saga, where he was just going around killing Frieza's men, there's plenty of beatdown moments to choose from, but out of all of them, this one gets the highest on this list. And why? It's mostly due to Cell. Cell in DBZ and DBZA is horrifying. While his first form is more grotesque and monstrous, his last form simply holds a lot of power and has a lot of strength behind him. However, Semi-Perfect Cell, he really just shows up and gets his ass kicked. And that's really the most entertaining part of Semi-Perfect Cell's brief appearance. We know Cell is headed towards great things, achieving his perfect form and laying a beat down on Vegeta in the coming episodes. However, as for right now, it's just fun to watch him struggle as Vegeta just keeps mercilessly beating him down.
You're gonna regret it.
How did you get this strong?
I trained all day yesterday.
Oh, you think you're being cute?
Bitch, I'm adorable.
Fine! Then how about this? Girl and gun?
Oh, and that's just precious.
That'll do, Prince. That'll do.
6.
Let's get this out of the way. Trunks is a badass. He shows up, he kicks all kinds of ass, including the Emperor Frieza and his short-lived father. Trunks first appears at the end of episode 32. He slices up Frieza's men, delivers an epic line, and then the episode ends. It's an incredible way to build hype, and a month or so later, Team 4-Star come up with the next episode. And it's a spectacle. Of course, we were always gonna see Trunks destroying Frieza and his father. However, the way TFS does it is just even better and adds so much more hype to the scene. This is one of the first times we see Trunks just by himself, and his personality is drastically different to when he's interacting with Vegeta, Goku, or Gohan. It's a sight to behold, seeing him so cocky that he can take down Frieza, and seeing how Kaiser plays this role is just fun. A lot of people really love his character, myself included, and he's a character people have been waiting years to see in DBZA, and him finally showing up is just satisfying.
5.
This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween! If nothing else, this definitely proves TFS know how to do filler. In this Halloween special, Team 4-Star pit the 4-foot Buddhist up against the terrifying Imperfect Cell, with hilarious results. Because this is independent from any other video, the script is jam-packed with references and bits from classic horror movies, and the shorter running time allows it to do this without wearing out the joke. Another great part of this bit, it allows to give some more focus to Krillin, which lets TFS return to some of their roots, with jokes like the cock and Krillin's frequent misuse of the solar flare. The reason this hits so high on the list is it's a really unique video and gives a different kind of humor and style than we're used to with the rest of DBZA, which really allows it to become a memorable bit of TFS humor.
4.
Why don't more people talk about this fight? This fight is great.
Be honest. Is this just a short guy thing?
You talk a lot of shit for a washing machine. And no, I'm not just saying that because you're an android. I'm saying it because you're a
It gives us an extended look at the androids, gives us some great fighting, great lines, and one of the best scenes of Vegeta getting his ass kicked. Just a great little scene filled with great lines and character interactions. Plus, this scene gives us our first look at 18, whose sarcastic, don't-give-a-fuck nature just parallels so well with the cocky prince. I feel like this scene doesn't get as much love as it deserves. It's hilarious, well-made, and most of all, introduces us to 3 characters we've just met and makes us enjoy watching them all. Plus, Vegeta getting his ass kicked by a girl. Ha!
Did anyone get the number of that bitch?
18.
Thank you.
3.
This is Tien's last hurrah in the series, and they nail it. Tien's a great character, but like many great characters in Dragon Ball, he really gets the shaft later in the series. However, unlike Yamcha or Launch, Tien gets a legitimately awesome scene before he marches off into obscurity. As Tien is one of my personal favourite characters, I was excited to see how TFS would handle this scene, and I was not disappointed. It is admittedly somewhat lacking in the humour department, but the lines meant for comedy do hit home, and ultimately this is a more serious scene. Seeing Tien's frustration in the build-up of the scene, and seeing the pure spectacle of his last stand, really elevates the scene above what TFS has done before. This scene just distinctly stands out as memorable, for the bits of comedy sprinkled throughout, the performances, and the build-up to it. All this makes for a scene that I for one could watch over and over again.
And now, with both Piccolo and 16 out of the way, we can play.
Not yet!
Huh? Oh my god! It's Tien! What, was Krillin busy? Come on, buddy, you can't be serious. With your power level, you're no android, you're no Namekian, and you're certainly no Super Saiyan. You're just human.
Yeah? Well, you know what? Power levels! Super Saiyans! And you! Shin Piccolo!
Oh, that's a Dora Shin!
2.
Once again, Vegeta returns to the countdown for yet another round of combat, and once more it's him getting his ass kicked. Frieza is once again a standout. I cannot praise Little Kuribo enough for his performance, and seeing how it plays off with Vegeta is a lot of fun. It's played in the strangest sort of pissing contest, with both believing they're stronger than the other. Both Lanny and Kuribo really sell the strength of their roles, which makes the inevitable scene of Vegeta being ripped to shreds all the more enjoyable. Seeing Vegeta lose confidence in himself as he slowly gets torn apart is a lot of fun to watch, and the natural humor and taunts that spawn from this are some of the best the series has to offer.
See, it's like I told you, Vegeta. Like a bitch.
Above all else, comedy is what makes this series, and what makes good comedy is good character dynamics. And the dynamic of these two cocky powerhouses clashing and taunting each other is one of the best DBZA has to offer. However, there is one better.
1.
And we've come full circle, back to Frieza vs. Goku. This choice may seem strange to a lot of people, since the big reason people even care about this battle in the series is the Super Saiyan transformation. Yet I excluded that part and put it on the lower end of this list. Well, for a couple of reasons. The first is, as I mentioned with Vegeta and Frieza, the dynamic. All season long, Little Kuribo's Frieza has been a taunting madman, who gets his kicks from insulting and mocking his opponents. However, Goku is simply too dumb to intimidate, which leads to some of the best lines the series has to offer.
I'm going to drown you. I'm going to drown you like a sack of dumb puppies.
What? Why would you drown puppies?
Because they're cute and cuddly.
Are you coming on to me?
The actors really sell this scene, with Little Kuribo's voice acting conveying his anger, and nobody plays a better moron than Masako. Another thing that really brings us to the best moment is it actually improves on the fight from the original series. The original Goku vs. Frieza really dragged on and was so boring at parts. As I said, the reason most people even care about this fight is the Super Saiyan transformation. However, instead of a long and extended affair like the original series, it's written and paced in a way where the shorter runtime really works. And even though it's a longer fight than DBZA is used to, it still is good enough to keep you engaged throughout. The writing, acting, editing, pacing, character contrast, everything in this fight is perfect, and that's why it's my number one pick for the top moment in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And that's it. Let me know what you thought of the list. Did I get all your right moments, or did I leave your favorite off? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you've all enjoyed this. I certainly have enjoyed returning to my favorite series and remembering all of the amazing moments. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a happy DBcember.